welcome to the deep dive. Today, our mission is to unpack a single, honestly, just totally fascinating source about behavioral ecology.
Yeah, it's a really fun one today.
It really is.
Yeah.
Because we are going to teach you how to survive the ultimate summer antagonist, which is, of course, the beach seagull.
Oh, the absolute worst.
Literally the worst. And we are going to explore a defensive tactic that, well, it sounds completely unhinged on the surface.
It definitely does.
But it is deeply backed by hard, peer-reviewed science.
Which is the best kind of science.
Right. But before we get to the biology, I want you to really picture this for a second. You are out there, living your absolute best summer life.
Yeah.
You've got your toes in the sand.
The sun is shining.
Exactly. You've applied your SPF like a highly responsible adult.
Mm-hmm.
And you are carefully, delicately balancing a paper carton of boardwalk fries right in your lap.
Oh, the good ones too.
The really good ones. The ones you just paid like $14.99 for.
Yeah. That is a significant emotional and financial investment in potato-based happiness.
A huge investment. And then, out of absolutely nowhere, the sky darkens. A seagull swoops in.
Just zero hesitation.
None. And not just any swoop. It comes in with the sheer, unadulterated confidence of a tiny, winged criminal.
It really does.
It snatches your fry right out of your hand or your carton, and it makes off with your snack as if, it was the one who handed over a $20 bill at the concession stand.
It is a universal trauma, honestly, and the immediate reaction is almost never graceful.
No. Yeah.
We've all been there, and you usually feel just entirely helpless.
Utterly helpless. I mean, I would gasp, I would point, I would probably loudly screech, "Excuse me," to a literal bird.
Which does nothing.
It does nothing. It's humiliating.
The humiliation is real, but that is the beauty of the research we are looking at today.
Okay.
Because we aren't just talking about lost fries and ruined beach days. We are actually diving into some serious behavioral ecology here.
I love that.
Yeah, we are going to look at how a deeply, wonderfully silly craft project essentially exploits millions of years of evolutionary hardwiring in these birds.
Wow.
We are going to learn how to hack an animal's natural risk assessment.
Okay, let's unpack this because I want to move straight from, the trauma of the stolen French fry to the actual scientific intervention designed to stop it.
Let's do it.
Our source material today revolves around a study published in the journal Ecology and Evolution. How did researchers even begin to test something like this?
Well, they went straight to the front lines. The researchers set up their experiment in the coastal towns of Cornwall, England,
Okay.
which is an area infamous for its high density of human-gull interactions.
I can imagine.
And they focused on herring gulls, which are the classic opportunistic beach scavengers we all kind of know and fear.
Usual suspects.
Exactly. And the methodology they used was brilliant, really, because they needed to isolate a very specific visual trigger without letting other factors contaminate their data.
Contaminate the data how? Like the smell of the food.
Precisely. I mean, if you put actual hot chips in a box, the scent profile completely changes the bird's motivation.
Right, they smell the grease.
Yeah, and it alters their sensory input. So they actually took 2 standard closed takeout boxes, and they didn't put a single crumb of food inside.
Really? No food at all?
None. They simply weighted the boxes down with rocks so the coastal wind wouldn't blow them away.
Smart.
And they placed them on the ground in areas where the gulls were already actively foraging.
So 2 identical boxes full of rocks. But they weren't entirely identical on the outside, were they?
No, they were not. One box was left completely plain, looking just like standard, boring takeout packaging.
Okay.
The other box was modified. The researchers covered every single exposed surface of it with high contrast black and white googly eyes.
Wait, just to be clear, we are talking about the classic plastic craft store googly eyes, like the kind you use to make a sock puppet.
The very same. They just covered the box in them. Then the researchers retreated, hid themselves, and watched with a stopwatch.
Just waiting to see what happens.
Yeah, to see how the local herring gulls would react when given a 5-minute window to approach the objects.
And the data they got back from this is just wild to me.
It's incredible.
Within those 5 minutes, of the gulls that actually came up and pecked a box, 78% of them chose the plain, boring container.
Right.
Only 22% dared to peck the box covered in googly eyes.
Yeah, that is a massive statistical divergence.
It's huge.
It is. When you are studying animal behavior in an uncontrolled, natural environment, Getting a nearly 80-20 split on a single variable like that is highly significant.
Because there's so many other factors out there.
Exactly. It proves the visual stimulus is doing something profound to their decision-making process.
And it wasn't just that they chose the plain box more often, right? The eye-covered boxes actually delayed the birds.
It did.
On average, it took the gulls an extra 19 seconds to even attempt pecking the googly eye box compared to the plain one.
Which is a long time.
Yeah, 19 seconds doesn't sound like a long time to us, but in the context of a seagull swooping down on your lunch, that is an absolute eternity.
Oh, totally.
That is plenty of time to cover your fries, shift your posture, or just shoo the bird away.
And time is everything for an opportunistic scavenger. I mean, their entire survival strategy is built on speed.
Get in, get out.
Right. Secure the calories, get out before a larger predator, or even a competing gull attacks them. Introducing a 19-second hesitation breaks their entire operational model.
I love that idea of breaking their operational model. But I have to push back a little on the underlying mechanism here.
Sure.
Is this essentially like putting up a fake ADT security sign or one of those blinking dummy cameras on your front porch, but for birds?
That's a great analogy, actually.
Because I am struggling to wrap my head around this.
Yeah.
Does a seagull actually look at a cardboard takeout box covered in plastic eyes and consciously think, oh no, this box of fries is a living creature, I better back off?
What's fascinating here is that, no, the gull absolutely does not think the cardboard box has suddenly come to life.
Yeah, good.
Herring gulls are incredibly intelligent. They are highly habituated to human environments. They know exactly what a food container is.
They've seen a million of them.
Right. What we are seeing isn't the bird mistaking the box for a living organism. We are seeing a physiological reaction to the pure stimulus of the eye spot itself.
The pure stimulus, meaning just the geometric shape and the contrast of a dark circle inside a lighter circle.
Yes, exactly. The nervous systems of countless animals have evolved to prioritize that specific pattern above almost all other visual information.
Wow.
It bypasses higher-level cognitive processing entirely and triggers an automatic biological hesitation.
Like a reflex.
Exactly like a reflex. In nature, eyes are a major red flag. If you are an animal foraging for food and your visual cortex suddenly registers that eyes are directed at you, it completely alters your internal survival math.
Because if there are eyes on you, it means you've been spotted. The element of surprise is completely gone.
Exactly that. Direct eye contact in the natural world almost exclusively signals one of three things.
Which are?
Attention, threat, or aggression. For an animal trying to decide if a food source is safe, simply feeling watched forces an immediate, involuntary risk assessment.
They have to pause and think.
Yeah, the bird's brain essentially hits the brakes to calculate, is this caloric reward actually worth the potential danger of whatever is currently looking at me?
Okay, so the Cornwall experiment brilliantly proved that the googly eyes work to trigger that hesitation.
Right.
But I want to dig deeper into the why. Like, is it really just the abstract shape of an eye, or is it the feeling of a gaze?
To understand the power of the gaze itself, we have to look at another piece of research from the source material.
Okay.
A 2019 study published in Biology Letters tested this exact dynamic on the same species of herring gulls, but without the craft supplies.
So no googly eyes this time.
No googly eyes. They wanted to measure the impact of an actual human gaze.
They just stared down the seagulls.
Essentially, yes. The researchers placed a food source near the gulls. In one scenario, a human researcher stood near the food and stared directly, unblinkingly at the approaching gull.
That sounds intense.
It is. And in the control scenario, the human stood at the exact same distance, in the exact same posture, but simply turned their head and averted their gaze entirely.
Looking completely away. And the act of just pointing their eyeballs in a different direction changed the outcome.
Radically. When the human was looking directly at them, the gulls took significantly longer to approach the food.
Really?
Yeah, many wouldn't approach at all. Just the invisible pressure of being looked at made them hesitate. The researchers proved that the gulls are highly attuned to human gaze direction, and they use it to gauge risk.
So what does this all mean, like for you and me? Because as someone who just wants to sit on the beach and read a paperback while eating my $15 fries in peace, this raises a major practical issue.
I can see where you're going with this.
Do you just have to maintain unblinking, aggressive eye contact with every single bird on the beach? Because honestly, that sounds utterly exhausting.
It really does.
I want to relax, not engage in a grueling staring contest with the local wildlife.
Your instinct is spot on. It is exhausting, and evolutionary biology is entirely on your side here.
Well, thank goodness.
Maintaining constant active vigilance, constantly standing and staring down threats, is incredibly costly from an energetic standpoint.
It burns calories.
It burns calories and prevents you from doing other necessary things, like eating or resting. But nature already solved this energy drain problem, which is exactly why putting the fake eyes on the box is so brilliant.
It does the heavy lifting for you.
It does the heavy lifting for you. Nature solved the problem of having to stare at things through mimicry.
Mimicry, right.
Think about certain species of butterflies or moths that have giant high-contrast circles on their wings.
Oh, yeah, the ones that look like owl eyes.
Exactly. Or consider various species of tropical fish, frogs, and caterpillars that feature these stark, concentric circles on their bodies.
Okay.
Those are evolutionary eye spots. They didn't evolve by accident. Over millions of years of evolutionary pressure, the animals that happened to have markings resembling eyes were slightly less likely to be eaten.
Because the predators hesitated when they saw the markings.
Precisely. The eye spots evolved to trick predators into thinking they are being watched by something much larger and more dangerous.
That's so clever.
The butterfly doesn't have to actually see the predator, and it certainly doesn't have to waste energy staring it down. It just wears a built-in biological dummy camera, using your earlier analogy.
It projects the threat passively.
Right. The marking itself projects the threat, conserving the animal's energy.
Okay, that makes so much sense. By gluing plastic eyes to our fries, we are basically just adopting a survival trait that insects and amphibians have been refining for millions of years.
That's exactly what we're doing.
But surely this fake eye loophole only works on small-scale, lower-stakes stuff, right? Like birds stealing snacks or frogs hiding from snakes.
You might assume that, but the research shows this instinct runs much, much deeper than just birds and bugs.
Well, here's where it gets really interesting, because the source material takes this concept and scales it up to a level that honestly blew my mind.
It's quite a leap.
We are leaving the quaint boardwalks of Cornwall, and we are going straight to the savannah in Botswana.
This is a 2020 communications biology study, and it is where the science goes from a clever beach trick to a profound insight into animal psychology.
Okay, set the scene for us.
Researchers in Botswana were trying to solve a deeply serious, high-stakes problem. Apex predators, specifically lions and leopards, were attacking and killing livestock.
Okay, so the stakes are slightly higher than a stolen French fry. We are talking about massive economic devastation for local farmers and the retaliatory killing of endangered predators.
Exactly. It is a critical conservation and economic crisis. So a team of researchers decided to test this exact same fake eye loophole on the cattle to see if it could disrupt the hunting patterns of these massive predators.
Why did I do that?
They took a large herd of cattle and divided them into 3 distinct groups. On the backsides, literally on the rumps of the first group, they painted large, highly visible artificial eye spots.
They just painted giant eyes right onto the cow.
Yes, right on the cow.
That's amazing.
On the second group, they painted simple cross marks. They needed to know if the predators were just afraid of any random, unfamiliar paint marking, or if it specifically had to be an eye shape.
Good control variable.
Right. And the third group, the control group, they left completely unmarked. Then, they simply let the entire herd graze normally together in areas with known heavy predator activity.
And the results of this are staggering. Over the course of the 4-year study, predators killed 19 cattle from this experimental herd.
Right.
But of those 19, every single one came from either the unmarked group or the cross-marked group. 0 of the cows painted with eye spots were killed. 0.
It's an unbelievable result.
So the French fries are essentially the cow butts. The exact same biological hack is saving both a $15 snack on a beach in England and a 1,000-pound animal on the savannah in Africa.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, what we are looking at is a universal rule of animal psychology.
Yeah?
The researchers point out that science contains multitudes. When you discover that the exact same behavioral loophole works on an apex mammalian predator like a lion and an avian scavenger like a gull, you start to realize how deeply ingrained this neurological hardwiring is.
But why does a lion care if a cow is looking at it? I mean, a lion is perfectly capable of taking down a cow whether it's looking or not.
It comes down to the mechanics of how they hunt. Lions and leopards are ambush predators. They rely entirely on the element of surprise.
Okay, that makes sense.
The stalking phase of a hunt allows them to get close enough to launch a sudden explosive sprint. That sprint requires a massive output of calories. If the prey is unaware, the hunt is likely to be successful, making that caloric burn a good investment.
But if the prey turns around and makes eye contact?
If the prey makes eye contact, the predator knows the element of surprise is gone. The prey is already preparing to flee or fight.
The dynamic completely shifts.
Suddenly, the energetic math of the hunt fails. The predator's brain calculates that the chance of success has plummeted, and launching the attack would be a dangerous waste of precious energy.
Wow.
Seeing an eye, even a painted one, short-circuits the entire hunting sequence. The calculation of "I am being watched, therefore my strategy is compromised" cuts across species, across continents, and across ecosystems.
It's incredible. Evolution has handed us this massive loophole, but now we have to talk about how you and I actually apply this information.
Bro, back to the beach.
Because we need a practical, real-world application for our summer beach trips that doesn't involve us looking entirely unhinged to the other families trying to enjoy their vacation.
The source material gives us a very clear, layered defense strategy, and it starts with the lowest effort, highest reward tactic,
Which is?
the DIY method for your food containers.
I love how low-tech this is. You do not need to buy specialized, expensive seagull deterrent gear.
Not at all.
You can simply draw 2 big eyes on the lid of your takeout box with a thick marker, or, as we mentioned, slap on some oversized googly eyes before you leave the house.
Yep.
If you are feeling particularly crafty, you can even draw a little face on a piece of paper and tape it to the container.
However, there are strict rules to making this work. The studies make it clear that visibility and contrast are everything.
So no subtle artwork.
No subtle artwork.
Mhm.
Tiny, tasteful, minimalist little dots drawn with ballpoint pen are not going to trigger the biological response.
No impressionistic watercolor eyes.
Definitely not. They need to be large. They need to be incredibly high contrast. Think stark black circles inside bright white circles.
Got it.
And crucially, they must be placed on the outer packaging. You should never, under any circumstances, draw on the food itself with a marker.
Keep it non-toxic, folks. Put it on the lid, put it on the sides of the cooler. You want the bird to clock those giant high-contrast eyes long before it gets close enough to decide your lunch is actually its lunch.
But we also have to acknowledge the caveat in all of this behavioral research.
There's always a caveat.
The googly eyes are powerful, but they are not a magical, impenetrable force field.
Right.
Some birds are highly habituated. They might be incredibly hungry, unusually bold, or simply too emotionally invested in your specific container of food to care about the eyes.
Emotionally invested in your fries. I have honestly never related to a seagull more in my life.
We've all been there.
So what happens when the passive eyes aren't enough? Because the source material does give us a backup plan, taking us back to another biology letter study focused on auditory deterrence.
Yes, the researchers knew that visual deterrents sometimes fail, especially with highly habituated urban birds, so they tested the introduction of sound.
Okay.
They placed that closed container of food on the ground, and when the herring gulls approached, ignoring the visual cues, the researchers played different recorded sounds from a hidden speaker.
And the specific tone of the sound mattered immensely, didn't it?
It was the defining factor. When they played a recording of a calm, conversational voice saying a phrase, only 15% of the approaching gulls actually flew away.
That's pretty low.
Very low. They barely registered it as a threat because calm human chatter is the baseline noise of a busy beach.
Oh, that makes sense.
But when they played a shouting, aggressive male voice, nearly half of the gulls fled within a minute.
Because shouting breaks the baseline, it signals an immediate active escalation of a threat.
Exactly.
But this brings up a crucial reminder from the researchers that we have to state clearly. We are talking about shouting to startle them, not harming them.
Very important distinction.
You should never chase, kick, throw things at, or injure the gulls. This entire body of research is about finding peaceful, psychological deterrence.
That is the core of behavioral ecology applied to conservation. We are modifying their behavior by tapping into their own natural instincts and risk assessments, not through physical violence.
But wait, I have to push back on the reality of executing this.
Okay.
Let's look at what the ultimate, scientifically proven strategy requires of me. I have to sit on a crowded public beach with a googly-eyed cardboard box in my lap, aggressively locking eyes with a bird that gets too close, while suddenly shouting at it in a firm, booming voice.
It sounds a bit intense when you put it like that.
I think I just became the scariest thing on the beach. Forget the seagulls. The other families are going to pack up their umbrellas and run away from me.
This raises an important question, though. How do we balance effective animal deterrence with basic human social norms?
Exactly.
And the answer is found in a layered approach. You don't have to jump straight to being the loud, screaming action hero of the boardwalk. You escalate only when necessary.
Okay, walk me through the escalation ladder. How do I do this without ruining the vibe?
Step 1, deploy the googly-eyed box. Let the passive eye spots do the initial work. For a large majority of birds, as the Cornwall study showed, that visual hesitation alone will make them choose an easier target.
It projects a threat without you expending any energy.
They will take the path of least resistance and go steal someone else's unmarked fries.
Sorry to that other guy on the beach, but...
Exactly. Now, step 2, if a particularly brave or hungry gull ignores the box and starts giving your lunch the hard stare, approaching closer, that is when you add your own gaze.
Okay, engage the staring contest.
Look directly at it. Add that second layer of evolutionary pressure.
Yeah.
You are confirming that the threat is active and watching.
2 sets of eyes, the box and mine are worse than 1.
Precisely. And then, step 3 only, if the bird continues to approach, ignoring both the fake eyes and your direct stare, do you deploy the firm, loud voice.
The shout.
You escalate your defense only as much as absolutely necessary to break their risk calculus.
Okay, I can live with that. A silent stare down first. And the shout is reserved only for when they breach the final perimeter.
Exactly.
So bringing this all back to you, the listener, sitting on the sand this summer, you now have a cheap, wildly silly, and rigorously scientifically proven way to defend your lunch.
You really do.
The days of helplessly watching a tiny winged criminal fly away with your $14 investment are over.
It really is a win-win scenario for everyone involved. The birds stay safe, and you keep your food.
It is, because at an absolute minimum, you have successfully protected your calories using million-year-old evolutionary hacks.
Yeah.
And at a maximum, you have just created the single funniest beach accessory of the year. I mean, imagine pulling a cooler, a towel, a novel, and a takeout box that looks like it has seen some serious things out of your beach bag.
It's a brilliant, everyday application of complex behavioral ecology, but, analyzing all this research on how deeply animals are affected by the mere illusion of being watched, it leaves me thinking quite a bit about us.
What do you mean? Humans aren't scared of googly eyes on a box.
We might not be scared of craft supplies, but think about the underlying mechanism.
Okay.
If the animal kingdom, from beach scavengers evaluating a French fry to savanna predators stalking a herd of cattle, is so easily hacked by the simple presence of high-contrast eye-like circles, how much of our own human behavior is unconsciously dictated by the exact same environmental triggers?
Oh, wow.
Think about how your posture or your behavior shifts in a public space when you notice the dark, circular, unblinking lens of a security camera pointing at you.
That's true. You do tense up a bit.
Or consider how you feel walking into a grand building that features highly symmetrical, eye-like architectural patterns overhead. Does the geometry of our environment change how we move, how we speak?
Are we really that different from the gulls hesitating at a cardboard box?
Or are we just responding to more sophisticated eye spots?
That is a wild thought to leave on. Are we all just unconsciously reacting to the googly eyes built into our own modern environment? Well, next time you are out there, toes in the sand, balancing that paper carton of boardwalk fries, remember to pack your googly eyes.
Please do.
It's weird, sure. But it is definitely less weird than tripping over your flip-flops while screaming at a bird. Until next time, keep your eyes peeled.